Hello, friends, and welcome back to more Prevent-A-Thon in benefit of Little Warriors. And as a reminder, it's actually kind of a cool fact about Little Warriors. Did you know the name Little Warriors was inspired by a painting? The spirit of a warrior lives within every victim of child sexual abuse. Like a warrior, these children also need the help, compassion, support, and love of many people, like a tribe, to overcome the many obstacles they will face. And we have been doing such great work to benefit Little Warriors. We have raised 2,170 Canadian dollars towards this fantastic cause. And again, we are $26 away from breaking a $10,000 lifetime milestone in donations. I want to see that hit in our next run, which is ready to go. So I am going to say, Dan the VP, let's see some Prison City any percent modern. Take it away, friend.
All right, welcome on in to Prison City. I am Dan. We're going to be checking out the hardest category in this game that I run, so that'll be a fun time. I've got a friend here on commentary with me if you want to shout yourself out, Phoenix.
I'm Phoenixcaptain. I have been looking forward to this all day.
All right, so we're going to jump in and start the game, and we're also going to skip the tutorial because I have played this a couple of times. Time is going to start on this confirmation screen, which will be in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so quick lore dump. In 1995, Detroit was turned into a prison city. It's 1997, and we're there for some reason. Our lead protagonist is Hal Bruiser, who we're seeing right here, and we need to learn a few things in this training stage about Hal and how we're going to play this game. You're probably already noticing we can slide, which is our main movement option other than just walking, which isn't quite as fast. Also, fun fact, I thought the coyote time jump in this game was speed tech, and it's just part of the tutorial I never played. So shout out to tutorials. But that coyote time jump is only available out of a slide. So we have to be sliding off a ledge and then jump in that coyote time window, which is a couple of frames. And just keep that in your back pocket knowledge-wise, because it's going to come into play later. The other big thing to get through in this stage is explaining the power-up that I just fully powered up. Each stage is going to have about 3 charges. Once we get all 3, we turn into this hot pink pants sprite of Hal, and our weapon, which is a chakram, is going to now be huge, and we're going to destroy this boss real quick. I'm also going to take some intentional damage here at the end. So I'm taking damage there because the way this mechanic works is that if you end a stage with 3 charges, you're going to start the next stage with full charges. Once you have 3 charges, every time you take damage, you lose a charge. So in the first main stage, rooftops, we're going to try to get a skip that requires a damage boost. So I do not want to be at full charge. I still have the 2 I had left. I'm just not going to lose any if I take damage. Right here, it's kind of a Castlevania inspired skip here. Well, I got to get the slide first and try this a couple of times. I need to get the slide. I need to get the coyote time slide, jump, turn around in just the perfect timing. And that's what I don't want to see happen. All right, starting out strong. So I'm going to get this skip no matter what. And getting invincibility right there means we can't get the damage boost. So we're going to get to see the beginning of this stage again. This has never been seen before in a marathon because I'm the only one with it in my current PB. So definitely we're going to get this one. Almost got it there. Didn't get quite far enough of a jump. There we go. All right, first time. That was the first time, right? The first time in my book.
I counted it as one.
Jeez.
Yeah. So we gonna check on our friend Simon over here, who is one of many references to, you know, people who made this game happen. That is, I believe, the main character for this dev's upcoming game, which is a Castlevania spin. This game is chocked full of references from like 90s action movies and kind of these style retro games. Most of them, I will be perfectly honest and say I don't know exactly what they're referring to. I was alive during the 80s and the 90s, but you know, time and all that, memory. But I do know there are some like Mad Max references, some Escape from New York. There's some TMNT references, which I will abide no TMNT slander for the NES. That was one of the original great Metroidvania games. All right, first boss, rooftops. It's going to be a Hind D. I'm going to take damage on purpose, hopefully only once, to try to get quick kill in here. I've got a good grenade. I got a good grenade drop, so I've got a grenade. Just missed that quick kill, but we'll get another shot over here. Alrighty. So that's a lot happening at the very beginning of the game between this training stage and that rooftop skip. We've got a little bit of a time to breathe now. We're not going to play this mini game. It is not part of the speed run. And now we can kind of talk about how this game is routed. We've talked about the power-up and the upgrades and the charges, and it all gets kind of confusing. But that's really all you need to understand about why we play the stages we do in the order we play them. The game has 8 Robot Master stages, if you are familiar with Mega Man or those kind of the retro Mega Man games, and then 2 Wily stages. All of the Robot Master stages are routed out based on what's the most convenient way to maximize our power-up and those charges. A lot of times that's going to be entering stages not fully powered up because of the likelihood to take damage, or as in like with rooftops, we wanted to take damage on purpose. So the factory is a good level to explain that and to show that off, because I'm taking a lot of damage here. I'm really utilizing the health bar we've got and the health drops I know I'm going to get, and trying to maintain a full charge throughout the entire stage here would be tough. Also, this boss, the fastest kill requires... These boxes are all RNG. The fastest kill requires taking damage. So again, the next stage after this, we want to play a stage that we can enter with 2 instead of a full set of charges. So just assume every stage I'm going to is routed around that, or grenade pickups in mind. But we got the mod loader here. Gonna try to cheese this a little bit. Take damage on purpose. Get back to our spot. And there we go. That is the mod loader quick kill.
On your, what's the W there below your power?
That is a very good question. So the P bar is our health. I guess it's you know, power is a good, yeah, that's probably a good P word that stands for. The W bar is the weapon bar, and you'll notice whenever I attack, whenever I throw out a chakram, it goes down a little bit. And that bar replenishes itself when the chakram you throw returns. So if you're not hitting an enemy, it's going to go with like full distance and then come back to you. If you are hitting an enemy, it's going to come back a little bit quicker. And the important thing to know is that the further down that bar is when you throw a second or a third chakram, the less damage that chakram does. One of the reasons why this category specifically, Modern Any Percent, is the hardest category, because you cannot spam. If you spam your attack, you do almost no damage because your weapon bar stays in the red constantly. There's a little bit of a rhythm to it, but that rhythm is kind of moving back and forth depending on what you're hitting and how far your chakram's going before it's returning. Also, shout out to the dolphin. We're gonna see our dolphin friend here in the next couple of stages because some amazing people donated to ride the dolphin. So definitely remind me of that. If you see me riding a motorcycle at some point, it should be a dolphin.
Do.
All right. So we got a little wind action here. This stage specifically, I really enjoy in the 100% run because it has the biggest sequence break of that category, but we are making quick work of it here. A little coyote time jump off of a single box. That's pretty tricky. Now into one of the two big RNG elements of this run. It's better than it was on release. Shout out to Programmancer for taking some of our complaints into consideration and making some updates. But where this boss comes, or where this boss appears, is RNG, and if you're too close to her when she appears, she will go back into her shell, or her flower, I should say. That is the fastest kill. That two good kills in a row, and now we're moving on to cold storage. I really love this stage.
I've got some good news if you have a quick second.
I have plenty of seconds for you.
Perfect. All right, so we had a $30 donation come in from Crushy, who says, this has been so fun to watch. Thanks to the runners, commentators, staff, and chat for having fun and raising money for such an important cause. Keep being awesome. And with that, not only have we hit $2,200 for this marathon towards Little Warriors, that has put us over $10,000 lifetime raised for Little Warriors. So everybody get hype in chat, and thank you so much for that fantastic donation. And on top of that, we are now $20 away from unlocking the first showcase song extension to Riff of the Necro Dancer. So keep going, friends.
Absolutely incredible job. Also, the first 50 we hit, I will match another 50, so we get a double song bonus if we can get that before the end of this run. And I just got crushed. That happens every now and then. We're gonna sequence break this section, so I need to get a perfect coyote time jump. There it is. Second try is a charm. Now I need to kind of backstop myself and get these. Oh, need to get my power-ups again, or at least try to. We don't have to have them for this boss. We'll try one more shot at it. Of course I get it first try. All right, we're skipping that one. This is one of the few sequence breaks. There's really no glitches in this run. We have the coyote time slide jump lets us sequence break a couple places. One place very specifically at the end of the run, which is the single biggest time save. And then some small spots like that let us, if you get it first try and you don't die, it saves time. There, not really saving time. And actually falling all the way back down to my death, so we get to see it again.
I'm gonna go ahead and $5 for every death I was gonna donate as well.
That's hopefully we won't stack those up for you. This is usually a game where I'm restarting more than I'm dying, but cold storage is proving me wrong there. I was gonna preface this run by saying that if I make it look easy, it is just like me playing well. I think this is a good example of how this game is not easy at all, especially on modern difficulty. One of the things I really love about this game and these style games is when they really capture what it's like playing this style game, kind of a retro game. There's a lot of lag around everything you do, which kind of explained the last death. Whenever you fall from too high of a distance, you might notice the character sprite. Well, ice is gonna ice. You might notice the character sprite kind of like superhero land, and you're just like 3 or 4 frames, you can't do anything. Oh, come on. And it's like that with attacking and sliding. There we go. All right. So what we're doing here, why we're having to make this big trip all the way around the stage for all the stages is the Robot Master stages, we're trying to find a key card to unlock the boss door. And it makes these stages really interesting from a level design standpoint, in my opinion, because it kind of turns them into like mini little Metroidvanias. And we also get to fight Pong, which I said what I said.
My childhood.
Yeah. This boss is not easy. Hopefully I make it look easy. It is not easy, especially without the power-up.
No.
Luckily, we can use a grenade to get 1 hit. I believe that was another change that Programmancer made for us to make the speedrun a little bit more friendly. All right. There's a couple of tricks. All right. I will take an easy Pong after the stage we had there. This is a good example of kind of how you have to play this category in an RTA setting. I'm going back to the rooftops. I have to start the next stage with 2 charges. So the rooftops is the perfect place to come in here and actually show off how you can manipulate the chakram. So I'm going to go grab a power up there, head into the power plant. Now, the ice stage is not supposed to be one of the more difficult stages. I just kind of made it look that way. This is one of the more difficult stages. The beginning is a little forgiving because we're on a global cycle with these charged fences, but I can absolutely take no extra damage except 1 hit, which I took there. We've got a big damage boost sequence break coming up. It doesn't save a ton of time, but it does save time, so we're going to do it. We're supposed to turn off the electricity up here, but instead we're just going to like mash our face into it a few times and hope we don't die. I really mean mash my face. All right, this game does have proper damage boosting. Whoop. All right. It does have proper damage boosting where you're always knocked the direction you're not facing, so helps kind of mash your face into that wall so you always go backwards. All right, we've got health again. I can breathe a little bit. We're going to get our full charges here. Something to note about having this fully charged chakram. The base attack can somewhat go through walls. The fully powered up chakram just goes through everything. And there are some enemies like those little lightning enemies that the base weapon cannot damage. So having the fully powered up chakram isn't just kind of a quality of life. It actually makes things faster. All right, we got the key card
healing
here.
items are hot dogs also.
Do what?
I love that the healing items are hot dogs.
Yes, the healing items are indeed hot dogs. All right, so we've got boss of this stage, the power nodes. Now, the next stage, we do not need any charges of the power up. So I want to keep it to try to kill this boss as quickly as possible, but I might just YOLO like that phase. I'm just guessing what's going to come up. By the way, I have no idea what order any of this is going to happen in. Alright. Well, I know it's going to be this one now. Alright, we're about to ride the dolphin. I'm reminding myself. This is the freeway. And this is a great time. We've got probably about a minute where I'm just going to be playing through this auto scroller. If we've got any donations, anything we need to, business we need to take care of, Asuka, go right ahead.
Absolutely, a $15 donation from Bud Horse with no comment. No comment needed. Thank you so much for that charitable donation, Bud Horse. 2 Little Warriors. I want to give a quick update on the Love 3 character trail bid war. Right now, non-binary has a commanding lead. But falling behind is pan and trans. Then bi and LGBTQ is rounding out the 5. So if you want a flag for your character trail, for Love 3, which is the very next run, put your donations towards that incentive. Also, we are still $20 away from that extension of the showcase for Rift of the Necrodancer. And as you heard our wonderful runner, Dan the VP, if we hit that before the end of this run, Dan will be matching. So, friends, we want to see some more Rift of the Necrodancer. If you haven't seen this on Impossible difficulty, it is awesome. It is so cool. You're gonna want to tune in. But yeah, also, since we're watching that dolphin, which is so cool, thank you so much for donating to get this as a possibility. It is, I'm just loving the concept right now of a dolphin as a motorcycle. Don't mind me.
It's even got a kickstand.
I saw that.
That was perfect timing. All right, we're gonna play this level backwards now. We're supposed to fall down right here, but I know the trick. All right, now we're going backwards. That's important here because this is... I like this game. I think it's pretty evident by how much I've played it at this point. This is one of the things I like most about the game. Beyond just being hard and being like really feeling like a retro game, there's even like death abuse. It's not all throughout the game, but it is right here. So we're gonna go get this key card. And because we went backward through the stage, we got to the key card really quickly. And since this is just a big loop and we started at the boss door, if we die because we didn't get a checkpoint, we're just going to be right at the boss door. This saves like a minute at least. Shout out to Mom Spaghetti. So this is probably the hardest normal boss. And it is, I'm going to count to 4, 3, 4, 1, 2, try not to take damage, shoots in sequences of 4s. Now I can kind of YOLO. Oh, I got the quick kill. There we go. I did not explain that well. This is the hardest quick kill to get, I should say, because it is very, very easy to take a lot of damage.
It was nicely done, though.
That was
Very nicely done.
incredible.
Thank you. That was the one thing, that was the boss fight that, quick shout out to an escape plan who has most of the records for this game, who is just like the most helpful single person I've ever encountered in like any speedrunning community, however small it might be. That was the fight that I was like, I don't know if I can run this game, because I was just banging my head against the wall on that fight over and over. But on modern any percent, because we have the smallest weapon bar, I should say this, in 100% you can upgrade the weapon bar so you can effectively get to where you can mash. The any percent difficulty on modern, you just have, it's such a hard rhythm on that fight to not take damage but still get the maximum damage on the boss. So shout out to an escape plan and everybody else that, you know, however big or small your chosen speedrunning scene may be, I'm sure there's somebody out there that appreciates your help. All right, we're almost fully charged. We do the sewers here because it is one of the only stages. Like I said, these Robot Master stages are kind of like little mini Metroidvanias. So most of the time, we're not going to see all 3 charges of the power-up. You might notice that I'll go in the stage maybe with 1 or 2, sometimes all 3. This is the only stage that the optimal route also gives us all 3 charges of that power-up. So after using the Death Warp in the freeway, we need a stage that can get us all 3 of those charges. hence why we save the sewers. The stage is faster if you come in here fully powered up, because there is a bunch of enemies to kill, but it's the only stage we can put out of the freeway after the freeway. This is a boss I need to take absolutely no damage on, because we need to start the next stage fully powered up. Main thing is just not to get too close, because the boss periodically drops bombs like there. All right, we should be good now. This is also a good time to say I'm playing on a hitbox. Shout out to Junk Food Arcades. In the control options for this game, you can assign a dedicated button to shoot diagonally up and diagonally down, kind of like in Super Metroid. And for that fight, and for several fights, you'll probably notice now that I've pointed it out, I'm using that heavily because it is much easier for me to hold down a dedicated diagonal shoot button than try to hold down up and a direction. But a lot of times I don't want to be moving in a direction either, so. One thing that makes kind of modern takes on these retro games just a little bit nicer to speedrun sometimes when you have the extra kind of accessibility options that let us map controllers to, you know, a hitbox instead of a SNES controller, if you will. Ooh! Got a little invincibility. And we just skipped some stuff. Probably the most RNG part of an optimal run of this game is whether or not you get invincibility drops, where it makes a difference. Also, charging chunks. Shout out to Super Mario.
I'd say while we're getting through this level and you are putting on an absolute masterclass, just to remind everybody that, again, we are raising money for Little Warriors, which is a national charitable organization focused on the awareness, prevention, and treatment of child sexual abuse. They also advocate on behalf of and with child sexual abuse survivors. If you want more information, please visit littlewarriors.ca or type in !info in chat. Best friends, I know you love doing that, so let's see that go in chat. And again, we need $20 more to get not only one song increase for that Rift of the Necrodancer, but our wonderful runner, Dan the VP, will be matching that donation. So we'll get 2 songs for the price of 1. I love that. Again, !donate. Put that money towards that incentive and Little Warriors.
All right, absolutely no damage can be taken on this fight. That's where I'm going to take it if I take it at all. All right. Oh, that is the final Robot Master stage. Absolutely demolished. Make it a good comeback after that, after the Pong stage. All right, we've got a little cinema going on. Phoenix or Afasica, if y'all want to chime in with anything, please go ahead.
And right for the Wily stages here, and also on that last level we saw the character that helped us, Rad. Rad is the person who made the incredible soundtrack for this game.
It is a very rad soundtrack. All right, Wily number 1, the police headquarters. This stage is a stage that exists. We're gonna skip at least half of it. We need to get a grenade, so we're gonna grab this one. It's also like really important I take as little damage as possible, which is why I'm kind of babying things right there. Playing that robot a little safe. I need to preserve as much of my power-up as humanly possible, so not taking the fastest strats here because I would rather show off the end of this stage with the full power-up. All right, good attack pattern off of that enemy, meaning that it didn't attack. We've got, oh my goodness, the game loves me. It gave me invincibility, like right here. Oh my goodness.
What determines getting invincibility?
It's completely random.
Oh,
it's just like a random, every enemy has, that's the skip. That's the frame perfect Wily skip.
Nice.
But second try, I think. Yeah, getting invincibility there. It's actually part of the
First try.
difficulty. Like every time you kill an enemy, there's a chance it's going to drop an item, which could be health, a grenade, or invincibility. And on the easier difficulties, you get more item drops. But this is the government mandated elevator level. This is a retro game, but it's an elevator boss, aka the Hellevator. I'm not going to say anything good about this boss, because we all know what happens when you say good things about a game.
It is a boss that exists.
Yes.
The games that I play, I understand 100% why you don't say good things about those games.
This part of the boss is just so epic, though. The scrolling background, you're like floating in the air. I do want to take damage once during this, because I do not want to start the next level. I can start the next level with 0 to 2 power-ups, but I do not want to start it with 3. All right. Elevator down. This is the final stage, and if you're looking at the estimate and you're looking at the timer, you might think that's probably a long stage, and you would be right. This is like every level we just played mashed into one giant level. Instead of having to get a key card, we're planting 9 bombs around the headquarters of the Detroit Police Department. Took a little extra damage there, so I'm going to be a little safe here. This is one giant gauntlet, so if any point in time I kind of go radio silent, you know why. It's very, like, everything is dependent on everything else. So any small mistake just gets punished the entire level.
Well, radio silence tends to be music to my ears, because we just got a $20 donation from Anonymous who says matching donations for songs. Here you go. And with that, we have unlocked the first extension of the Rift of the Necrodancer showcase. Thank you so much, chat, for your super, super generous donations.
Absolutely amazing. First and second, consider it.
First and second, yes. And thank you, Dan, for being so kind as well.
It's like, it's Canadian money, so it's like at a discount. How can you not donate?
Yeah, again, exclamation point rate, for those that don't know, there is that rate difference, and you get more for your money, especially if you are donating in American currency. And that rate little blurb in chat will kind of explain that difference for you.
All right, so we're going to try to make our way through here, taking as little damage as possible. I'm fully powered up now, so every bit of damage starts knocking it down. A little sequence break there. I forget that that's a speedrun trick and not just part of the stage, but all right, need to be a little careful here. There's different ways to do this bit of the stage. You can go YOLO, not get powered up until the end, and that is safer. Also, falling damage doesn't count against your your power-ups. Let's let this laser pass. So you can play it a little safer and not get fully powered up until kind of the very end. But we're going to go a little bit YOLO here, because there are more enemies to kill that I would rather have this power-up for. There's going to be one section is going to be the kind of make or break for it, though, coming up. Whether or not we can do it damageless. But if we get to the boss and we don't have the full power-up, it just is what it is. You know, sometimes, especially in a marathon environment, you just gotta take what the game wants to give you at any point in time. I'm gonna backtrack here a little bit. You might be thinking to yourself, there's probably like 100 different ways to play this stage, and you would be correct. All right, there's a couple places that are safe. Taking this a little bit slowly so I don't take damage. And that's what you like to see. All right. I don't want to say we're safe yet, but that is the room that you do not want to take damage in, or that is you're most likely to take damage in. Also, I grabbed another charge right there from through the wall. If I wasn't powered up, I couldn't get that charge. Also, if I wasn't powered up, this section is incredibly tight. You're trying to like outrun this bulldozer. This is why I opted to get the power up sooner. It's not, this is probably a little bit slower, but then a little bit safer. So if I was going for a PB, I definitely wouldn't have grabbed the power up sooner. But it makes that section and a couple other spots quite a bit safer, and I have a few backup charges since this stage is so big. I think there's like 6 or 7 total. So I can grab, I will be grabbing at least one backup charge since I'm down to 2. It doesn't matter how many we end this stage with. Really, you just want them for the boss fight, so. We've got a really, some interesting tech coming up. There's a kind of a mini boss. Oh, come on, slide. There's kind of a mini boss coming up that we're gonna hang off a ledge and fall and use the iframes from falling to walk inside the boss. It's right here, fall. There is a bomb to plant behind the boss. And we got out just in time, so taking damage to falling does not reduce our power-up charges. So we use the iframes from falling to keep from having to fight that boss, which it's a good chance we would have taken damage. So a little speed tech there. Gonna float a little bit. Get some health. This spot can be rather hairy. I'm gonna kill some of these enemies so I don't take that last bit of damage. This is the backup. Just gonna dip in here. That backup power up, full health. Coming up on well, I got the backup and then completely wasted it. One charge is good enough though. As long as we keep this one, we'll have it, as I say, and probably jinx myself. Still a couple of...
One of those, it's fine, TM.
Yeah. It's fine. Everything is fine.
Everything's fine.
Oh, there are some hockey players coming up, so shout out to Canada. I'm a huge fan of Canada.
Agreed, Canada is pretty awesome.
Yeah. These enemies right here have the worst attack pattern. All right. Got the health there. Gonna kill these enemies. Ooh, even got a grenade there. Also, just gonna show this off. There's a lot of little hidden secrets in this game, like this one. If you ever need some extra lives, that's just like infinite lives right there. And if you've ever just like played a retro game and felt like you needed to just like kneel at a ledge or like pray in front of a wall, you know, this game at least rewards you. All right, so we're fighting the chief. This is going to be in 2 stages. The first stage, we're going to try to take no damage. Hopefully, it'll happen quickly. It's a consistent pattern. Want to get him down before he gets to this other side. Well, I did not know you could take damage there, but we did, so we got to do this the old-fashioned way. He's gonna do his little charge thing, so now we can't attack him. But then he's gonna come at us, teleport, glide kick. All right, Chief Pain. Living up to his name. All right, got a little bit of health left. Phase 2. So he is going to take this injection, which I'm sure there's lore in this game. Other than it being Detroit in 1997, that's about as far as my knowledge goes. This is going to be a multi-phase fight. The first is all scripted. Every time you hit a damage break, you'll see the boss kind of explode. He gains a new ability. Well, he didn't explode there. So I know he's going to jump. Then he's going to charge me so I can slide tackle. Now he's going to have a run at you attack. He's going to jump. Now he's going to slide. And so this is all scripted until the last 2 cycles, I think, where he can just do any of the 3 abilities he's gained. He's going to get 1 more after this. He's going to jump and throw a rock. And he's going to run. He's not going to jump again because he already jumped once, but I got the weapon bar too far in the red too often. You can really see on a fight like this how much your damage is affected by not keeping it in the full status as much as possible. All right, these are all random. Ooh, caught me out there. Just as I said they were random. But he will always do 3 random attacks, so I know when he's going to give me the charge. Always want to get back into the center, so he jumps into the center. If you're at the wall, he'll jump all the way to the wall, which is hard to avoid. Right, this should be maximum pain done. All right, so I said that was the last stage. It's not exactly true. There is an escape sequence because, I mean, come on. Of course there is.
Of course there is.
Yes. Oh, but and still, even this stage, there's like 2 directions and 2 bads you can go. So like, huge shout outs to the amount of time and effort that Programmancer put into making this kind of a really dynamic game, just for as kind of short and as campy as it is.
Let's say if we're talking about shout outs, hey Phoenix.
Yes.
Kathy Snyder donated $35 and says, Phoenixcaptain.
Oh, that is my girlfriend's mom, and Bud Horse earlier is my girlfriend. Thank you for all the support they're giving me.
I just wanted to get $5 more out of Phoenix, so I died in the escape. I died right in front of a checkpoint, by the way. That is the most...
That is a power move right there, Dan.
I figure I'm already probably going to be a couple minutes over estimate, so why not really embrace it and make some money out of it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm an agent of chaos, so all right, let's go.
I mean, I can just keep dying, and that's like, that might be the most profitable run in marathon history.
I'm over here just eyeing my wallet like, oh no.
It's okay, your wallet is eyeing you going, was this a good idea?
I saved a grenade all the way for that one room, and we will literally carry a grenade for the entire of the final stage, like 10-12 minute long stage, to use it right there in the escape. Those 2 enemies are so difficult to kill without taking damage, and there's a very low drop rate on health before the boss, and the final boss is hard. There's a good chance neither of these enemies are going to give me health. Yeah, we carry that grenade all the way to the end just so we can keep as much health as possible for the final boss, which we are coming up on. I'll only be a couple minutes over estimate. So Detroit City Prison giant statue. I think this is a real statue in Detroit. We got anybody from Detroit can confirm? Maybe I'm making this up. Anyway, it's gonna swallow up all of the power and turn into a boss, because of course it is. This is a rather difficult boss, but it is very scripted, so we're going to hopefully first try it, taking as little damage as possible. So we're going to get this phase where we can attack the heart, get some power-ups, and then attack the head. I need to be careful about using my attacks wisely. It should take 4 cycles to kill the boss, and I say I should be careful about using my attacks wisely because I don't know what happens after the 4th cycle. If we get that far and I die, we're going to have to refight the whole fight, so I need to not spam here. Hopefully not take damage. This is one of the easier sections to take damage to. Yep, there's the damage twice. Got a little bit of a buffer left. It took me a long time to figure out you can climb on those hands, by the way. All right, this is a good rock placement. If you get two big rocks in the middle, it will eat up a bunch of your time waiting for them to fall. I need to be careful here. It's another... Oh, yep, there we go. Gotta be perfect now. Nope. Well, we get full health now coming in. I didn't wait until the final stage to die on this boss. So there's that. And there's another $5 to Little Warriors. Shout out to Phoenix. Donating per death.
There we go. Calculated death right there.
Yeah. Totally calculated.
Plan this whole time.
All right, got a good first cycle there. It's impossible to dodge that second row without climbing on the hands, and that was where I was like hard gated in this fight for the longest time. It's not very self-explanatory that you can hold on to the hands. Oh, almost didn't take damage there. The random elements of this fight do make it rather tricky, with, again, 80% modern being very difficult category. Alright, got good rock spawns here. I can make my way around it. Alright. I take damage there almost every time because you get sucked out of the... You get hits done whenever it sucks the upgrades out of you. Alright. Much better rock spawn. Time. Oh!
GG.
I almost didn't make that.
Jeez.
We almost went into fifth cycle, so I was really stressed there. So low call on that time. A little bit overestimate there, but you know, that's how it is with hard games. Hard games are hard sometimes. Thanks for hanging out and donating. I need to calculate this exchange rate so I can add another song to the Rift of the Necrodancer playlist.
Before you do that,
go ahead.
Dan, first off, you did an absolute masterclass of this was so cool to watch. Please tell everybody, where can they find you? What are you currently playing? And same to you, Phoenix.
I'm currently playing Mario Kart World. You can find me on the Switch 2 on Mario Kart World. No, you can find me on Twitch. I'm Dan the VP everywhere. I will be running this at SGDQ as well. There will be an incentive to upgrade it to 100%. So if you want to see me like hit my estimate, you can donate to that as well. So I have the easier run, the longer run, but it's easier. Yeah.
And you can find me at any charity marathon. I don't stream, so thanks to all the donators for that huge milestone.
Absolutely. And again, give GG's to Dan one more time for that amazing run of Prison City Any Percent Modern. That is not an easy game, and Dan just made it look like an absolute masterclass that it was.